Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news. The Matrix Resurrections just came out, and we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. There's some DC news as well, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. Um, I'm your host Krypton Cage, and I'm here with uh, the Viking. Sorry, I was just adjusting things. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm conflicted emotions. I got to see Matrix, General Zod's back, and Ben Affleck is seems to be done again. I don't know. I'm just all over the place. I'm okay. I'm okay to do this stream.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump right into it with the first topic being the shrink next door. Okay, so we've been talking about this show almost every week, and I know there have been some weeks that we didn't talk about on the show. But yeah, I've been watching it every week, and I've been loving it. And the suspense has been growing, and the finale just aired yesterday. And I gotta say, not yesterday, a few days ago, but I gotta say, this is one of the best shows I've seen so far. And I just really enjoyed it. And I thought that the characters were very well portrayed. I thought the acting was so well done by everyone involved, especially um, Catherine Hahn in the finale, and also obviously Will Ferrell. Yeah, so I think they nailed it. The story was very intriguing, and yeah, man, it's just crazy to think that this is based on a true story and it happened for so many years, decades even. So yeah,
Yeah,
it just blew my mind that something like this can happen to someone, and it was incredibly sad, but also very good to watch. Because it kept me engaged and it was very thrilling. Episode by episode. So it's a very well made show. I would say another win for Apple TV Plus.
yeah, but nobody seems to be talking about it whatsoever. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Few people online, of course, you come across, but usually, like everyone's talking about Hawkeye or they talk about other shows that's on. But yeah, the Apple TV shows kind of pass people by. But yeah, it's based on a true story. I listened to the podcast. And basically about this rich guy in New York. He's lost his parents. He's in his 40s and he runs a fabric business. He's a rich guy, but he deals with anxiety and stuff. He goes to a therapist, which is Paul Rudd's character. Will Ferrell is the rich character. And Paul Rudd's character is a manipulator, takes over Will Ferrell's life, takes over his business, makes him cut ties with his family over disagreements and stuff like that. So Will Ferrell's character is alone. He has nobody, only Paul Rudd's character. And over the course of 28 years, yeah, 28 years, Paul Rudd's character just absolutely take over this guy's life, which was ridiculous. And it's a fascinating story, and you can't believe it's real. You're watching each episode, you just can't believe it because Will Ferrell's character has a business. He lives in New York, but he has like a home in the Hamptons, like a holiday home. Paul Rudd's character just takes that over as well and throws parties there with celebrities. Like it's crazy. I recommend listening to the podcast definitely. But 28 years, like 28 years, 30 years of somebody's life like that just absolutely wasted, and it's still going on to today. Like there's court cases about it and stuff like that. And I bet you if they made this show a year from now, there will be more developments of what's going on, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, there will be more stuff coming out about what exactly happened. Because in the finale, it kind of because it time skips and stuff, it actually cuts to 2021.
Yeah.
So you know,
And there was text
but
at
yeah,
the
there's
end
kind of
as well towards the current update.
yeah, that's like it's still going on. That's only the current update.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They could do it from a year from now, and like there's different people coming out, and they're talking about their Ike stories, and that's who Rudd's character plays as a therapist, Doctor Ike. They all have different stories about how this man manipulated them. So it wasn't just Will Ferrell's character; it was the several people, maybe even hundreds of people, patients that he had. So yeah, he's a bad person. But Will Ferrell's acting in the finale, especially, was just fantastic. Really well done. and you just hate Paul Rudd's character. You really just want to kill him. That's how bad he is of a character. But people look at Will Ferrell as a goofy comedian, which he is, but here he absolutely nailed it.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. And yeah, another one of the great shows that's on Apple TV Plus, which not a lot of people are watching. It seems to be that they have really, really good content, but a lot of people don't watch them. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's the marketing or not being accessible to everyone. I don't know what the issue is, but yeah, there's a lot of great shows on here that go under the radar. There's Defending Jacob, that was with Chris Evans. Like, Chris Evans is in it, and that's a very good show, but not a lot of people watched it. So Ted
Yeah,
Lasso seems to be very popular from that platform. And there's Foundation, which
that's
is arguably the most um high quality sci-fi show on TV. It looks movie quality, and it looks better than some movies actually, and nobody watches it.
yeah. I think their most successful shows is the morning show with Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, and then Ted Lasso is the peak of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic show as well. It's probably one of the best shows on
For
TV.
All
Yeah, the rest of the
Mankind,
shows are all,
Servant.
yeah, for all mankind, a servant as well. There's another one is I can't think of the name, like Mosquito or something. That's a brilliant show, really well done. So yeah, they have top-notch shows. And I actually think that Will Ferrell will definitely get more dramatic roles now since this show comes out
Mm-hmm.
because he can nail it big time.
Yeah.
And I think 'cause you don't see too many comedians have theatrical movies anymore, like the likes of Adam Sandler and them type of guys because they work with Netflix. I could see Will Ferrell working for Apple TV.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I'm hyped to see more from him in this type of role as well, because um his comedy can sometimes be good, but it gets overdone at sometimes, and I wasn't a big fan of that. But I really liked what he did here. So yeah. All right, so moving on to the next topic, which is the Batgirl movie. And finally, we have some update on who the Batman is going to be. So now, for those of you who weren't following this before, um, there was hints from the directors that Batman is going to be in the movie, and they were hinting at Ben Affleck's cowl. They were hinting at other stuff from Ben Affleck and all that with Instagram posts and stuff. And in one interview, they outright said that Batman is going to be in the movie, but didn't say which Batman is going to be in the movie. Even after
The real Batman.
yeah, said the real Batman. But again, that could be some miscommunication based on what the translation was. Maybe they didn't mean it that way or something. I don't know. I'd like to give the benefit of the doubt to that. But
Yeah, I would say though, you're making a movie inside the DCU,
yes,
and when you say the real Batman,
yes,
people are obviously going to think Ben Affleck.
yes, that's
Like it's not like it's a black label film
yes.
where it's the Joker or the Batman standalone stuff. This was a part of the DCU.
Yes, that's a good point as well. It was set in the DCEU. It was filming in Glasgow, which is DCEU's Gotham officially now. And it had J.K. Simmons as Gordon. So, yeah, all signs
Like
pointed
we did,
towards Ben Affleck's Batman.
and people will probably look at us and say, "But you guys said Ben Affleck was in it." Well, like we looked at the hints from the director
Yeah,
where he was posting pictures with the back cowl, he was posting memes of Ben Affleck, and we were like, "Well, obviously he's talking about Ben Affleck." Like,
yeah,
and then they cast Commissioner Gordon, J.K. Simmons.
yeah.
So obviously, like we weren't insane to think it was Ben Affleck.
And there's not once, like, Ben Affleck Batman
Yeah,
hints were so many times. I almost forgot even how many times. And there was not even a single time they hinted at Michael Keaton's Batman. So, with that being said, today a bulletin came out from WB website, and apparently from WB website, because it's not there anymore. But yeah, someone took this, and it reads clearly here in the cast that Michael Keaton is in the movie. and for a couple of hours or so, people were discussing if this is real, if this is faked, or something like that. But then, um, the trades came out and confirmed, and this is from Hollywood Reporter, and they say Michael Keaton is answering the bat signal once again. The actor has joined Batgirl, the HBO Max film from Warner Brothers and DC, centering on fan favorite hero Barbara Gordon. Keaton is expected to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne Batman that he originated in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman and played again in 1992's Batman Returns. Keaton is also reprising his role in The Flash, which we knew, starring Ezra Miller, and due to release in theaters on November 4th next year. The movie is already in production, speaking of Batgirl, shooting in London. J.K. Simmons reprising his role as Commissioner Gordon for Justice League, and Brendan Fraser are also in the cast. No release date has been set for Batgirl yet. So, yes. What do you make of this?
I'm annoyed like everybody else, of course. There's a lot of people online right now. If you go to Twitter, they're so upset. There's like it's chaos. There's people at each other's throats. There's fighting going on and stuff like that, which is understandable. I understand why people are so angry at this because we all love Ben Affleck. We want to see him return, but it looks like that Ben Affleck doesn't want to return. He said recently in an interview he doesn't really look at IP movies as something in his future. He wants to do indie, more personal stories. But it's very conflicting because he signed on for additional photography for Zack Snyder's Justice League and then he signed on for The Flash straight after. And when Michael Keaton was announced in July 2020, that was before Affleck signed on for those two other projects. So that's why fans were very much like optimistic in terms of his return. And I was as well. I thought maybe something could happen. Maybe do a cameo in The Flash, he'd come back, do a cameo in Batgirl, he'd do a cameo and other stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. Michael Keaton could pop up here and there, whatever happened. But it looks like now that Michael Keaton will be the main Batman for the DCU, which is strange because he's 70 years old, nearly 70. And it looks like his Commissioner Gordon will be J.K. Simmons. It's just strange. It's very, very strange. But for me, I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I love Batman Returns big time. One of my favorite comic book movies. And to see him returns, that's pretty cool. It's awesome to see, but it's to the expense of losing Ben Affleck. That's why so many fans are annoyed. And I was excited for the background movie, Brendan Fraser, Batgirl, Commissioner Gordon, stuff like that. I was intrigued by it. I like the directors. I'm still going to watch the movie. I'm still very interested and intrigued, and I'm just bummed out that Ben Affleck is not a part of it, maybe not a part of the future of the DCU. But yeah, I think that Michael Keaton is here to stay. He hasn't played the character since 1992, but he's going to be in two films within a few months of each other, Batgirl and Flash in 2022. And I think he will be the mentor for the Justice League. I know you disagree with that, but maybe you have a change of
Well, not
opinion now
now.
since this news came out. Yeah, yes, since this news came out, it kind of looks likely. Like I don't know how to feel. I'm going to watch it. I like him as the Batman, but I want to see Ben. But if Ben doesn't want to be the character, then someone else should step in. And if Michael Keaton wants to do it, then let him do it. But I'd maybe rather Dick Grayson takes over. Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or someone like that come in as the new Batman for the DCU. Like that'd be cool. But I don't know. I really don't know. If they had Michael Keaton's Batman come in as a mentor to mentor Dick Grayson as the new Batman taking over for Ben, then maybe it wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, but Michael Keaton, like stunt doubles and stuff like that, I'm sure he'll have action scenes in the Flash, maybe in Batgirl. But I don't know, man. Is it all gonna come together? Do we trust DC and Warner Brothers enough to actually make a concrete plan for the future and for it to be good stories from here on out? Because Walter Hamada has been in charge since January 2018, and he's put out Shazam, Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84. Aquaman wasn't his at all because it was already made
Yeah.
when he came in. And he hasn't really done much. He hasn't built up a universe. Only now we're seeing kind of the progression of it. And now we will see in 2022 if it's good or not. But also, he has films like Black Adam, The Batman to come. He has The Flash and Aquaman. They're four big movies that more than likely will do well enough So from a perspective point of view, Walter Hamada will have a great 2022, and he looks like the right man for the job for DC. But those films are it's very hard to fail at those films that are going to come out unless they're absolutely terrible. So I question his leadership skills. That's why I'm more interested in what Matt Reeves is doing. He didn't want to be a part of the DC universe. I'm more interested in what The Rock is doing with Black Adam. You know, I'm more interested in the talent that's involved with each project than the actual hierarchy. Because Kevin Feige, you're excited for what he's doing because he runs everything. Walter Hamada, I just think is kind of a little bit of a cowboy when it comes to it.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that, I'm very upset about Ben Affleck not being in this Batman as well. And like I've said before, I am really looking forward to this movie, but this is a very big disappointment for me. I'm not gonna lie. Apart from this one thing, I think the movie still interests me, like everything that's in it and about it, the cast and everything. It seems interesting to me still. But this one thing is, it's not that I don't want to see Michael Keaton. Is the idea that I hate about Warner Brothers um, picking nostalgia over moving forward. You know, they did the same thing with Christopher Reeve Superman, adding his theme all over, everything, fandom, Shazam, all that shit, and Super Pets, all that stuff. It's always them going backwards that I have a problem with. I really want to see them move forwards with their DCU, not backwards. So I like that Michael Keaton is in the Flash movie, but his role there is supposed to be an alternate Batman, not the DCEU Batman, right? So that's why I was okay with him, and I was very excited to see him, in fact, because he's one of my favorite Batmans. And I really like that world that Tim Burton created. So that was exciting to me. But him coming into the DCEU and replacing Affleck is something I am definitely not on board with. But let's see how they play it. And I also would say that it really doesn't make sense why you would have that Batman come in and replace Affleck, even though we know that Affleck might not be willing to do anymore. And that's obviously because they canceled Zack's plans of, Justice League 2 and stuff, so he probably lost interest. You said that, he signed on for Zack Snyder's Justice League and also the Flash movie, right? That was last year before Toby Emmerich took over and canceled the Snyderverse plans. So I can see that when that happened, Ben Affleck just lost his shit and he was like, "Okay, I'm finally done. I don't care anymore, and I'm just moving on," right? Because they keep doing this to him. Yes, no, yes, no. I don't think he likes to play this game anymore, and so he just went up and left. And the Flash movie probably will be his last outing in the DCU. So I'm fine with Ben Affleck not wanting to do more, and to tackle that issue, you could recast him. You could have another actor play the modern Batman in the DCU. You can easily do that, but I am definitely not in favor of bringing in Keaton's Batman to replace modern Batman as a character. That just doesn't sit right with me.
They've done it before in the past where Michael Keaton wouldn't come back because Tim Burton wasn't coming back for Batman 3. And then they brought in Val Kilmer and a new director. It was the same universe. It was just, well, you could argue it's alternate universes of the same world, but they brought in Val Kilmer to be Batman. Then he fell out with them and they had to go and get George Clooney. So it isn't alien to Warner Brothers to recast Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, if they were to recast and keep the same continuity Batman but a different actor, I don't really like that either. I like continuous stories. I like the same actor.
Yes.
So I love the X Men universe because you have Wolverine from 1, 2, 3, Origins, Logan, Wolverine popped up in Days of Future Past. I like stuff like that. Even though the films around the said actor might be bad and the universe might not be connected, I love when the actor stays with the role because you could get something like Logan.
Yeah.
And Batfleck, I would love him to stay on, but like it's just there is no really right answer to it. Do you recast? Do you wait for Batfleck? He did retire. He came back. It's like what's that? It's hard to you're kind of getting messed with as a fan because you're getting excited and then you're getting sad and stuff
I mean,
like that.
think about
It kind
him.
of
Even
feels
he's getting messed with.
yeah. Like well, obviously, like he signed on for Zack Snyder's 5-story arc,
Yeah.
then his solo movies,
In February
and it was all taken
2020, they
away.
said we'll restore the Justice League cut, and then we might think about doing future movies. Please come sign in for us. We'll also have, you cameo in other movies like Flash, so he signed on for Flash. And then Toby Emmerich said no to Snyderverse, and then he said, "What the hell?" You know?
But he has gone through enough kind of shit: a divorce, alcoholism. He has kids. Like, he has a lot of stuff going on, and he just want to deal with the bullshit that's going on in the studio. You can't blame the guy. That's a lot of hardship, a lot of stress. Like, why go through that when you can make a film with George Clooney, a very laid back indie film
Yeah,
that's on Amazon Prime soon? That's going to be watched by a lot of people. And he
which
even
I'm
talked about
excited
this.
for
He talked
actually.
about like, yeah, that's pretty
Batman
good.
directing
And
Batman.
yeah, exactly. But like, look, talking about IP movies doesn't really interest him as much. He likes these smaller movies that people will see, and like the Flash movie will come out, and he might not be killed off. He might still be alive, and like it kind of all depends as well. If the Flash is a big hit, Warner Brothers might go back to him and say, "Would you come back and do like look what Spider-Man: No Way Home just did, Michael Keaton Batman film? Imagine that happened with the Flash, something like that."
Yeah.
I will never say never. I'll never kind of lose hope with things like that because Indiana Jones 5 is being made,
Yeah.
now. Matrix 4 just came out after 20 years. I don't think you never say never.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say in 10 years from now Ben Affleck comes back and does that Dark Knight Returns with Zack Snyder? Different management at Warner Brothers, people that like him. Like, these things can happen pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I won't lose hope. I am upset like everybody else, of course, but I'm not going to let it stop me from watching the movies. I'll watch them, but I'm not as invested as I was.
Brendan Fraser himself just warrants me to watch this movie.
Yeah, yeah. We'll all watch it for Brendan. If Brendan was in every single DCU movie, I think it would be a hit. But like, it's up to DC to get me back invested.
Yeah.
And their next movie is the Batman. That's a good start, but that's a standalone thing. That's obviously going to be great. But it's up to them to get me invested and average audiences into their shared cinematic universe. Suicide Squad, I liked it. It was a good movie on its own, but I'm not excited for the Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah.
I watch Peacemaker because I like the character John Cena. I watch anything he's in. Then Black Adam has to come. It has to get me invested into that character, into that story, and then if it has tie-ins to the universe, then I'm invested. But then we have Aquaman and Flash, Batgirl. It's up to them to get me invested. I'll watch the movies, but will I be counting down the days to see them on opening night, stuff like that, like I was for No Way Home, like I was for Matrix? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, after that, there's also the Flash movie that comes out next year, and
James M had something to say. He goes, Walter Hamada has been terrible for the DCU. He actually taught Birds of Prey, and Wonder Woman 84 were good. Like, I don't mind him greenlighting those films and put them out there, but after JL17, he probably should have went with a Flash movie, a Cyborg movie, standalone movies to build up the universe again, because the universe was damaged. But then he went with Shazam and Birds of Prey. Like, it was very weird choices, really weird choices.
Yeah.
And he should have been managing the relationship with the talent, getting everybody back on side. But Henry Cavill left, Ray Fisher, Jared Leto, Ben Affleck. Like, come on, look at that list of actors, and he let them go. Joe Manganiello, Jesse Eisenberg. Man, they don't deserve a DCU. They don't deserve all these talented actors.
Absolutely not. And I completely agree with James. Walter Hamada has been extremely terrible for the DCU. He is very, very incompetent as the head of DC Films. The sooner he's gone, the better for, the DC Films brand, and even Toby Emmerich, obviously. But yeah. So the next movie is the Flash movie, and we have...
See, we're happy now. We're happy about this. See, that's what we're talking about. It's up and down. There's peaks and valleys.
Yeah. So the Flash movie is very interesting to me. I'm still excited for this movie, even if whatever they're killing off Ben Affleck's Batman or whatever, because maybe that's probably what Ben Affleck himself wanted. But whatever. The concept, the story, and the elements in this movie definitely interest me. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm cautiously optimistic. I know certain things about this movie that really interesting to me, personally. So yeah, I'll watch the trailers, and if it doesn't excite me, then so be it. But as of right now, I definitely am excited for this. So with the Batgirl bulletin, there's also the Flash one that came out on the website, and it lists Michael Keaton 2 times, which I don't know why. But the key thing here is that they list Michael Shannon and Aunt J Trow. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah. Um, so basically, those two are actors who played General Zod and Faora in Man of Steel. And we reported this before, on our channel as well, that they were going to be in this movie. And, it wasn't confirmed, but now this is from the official Warner Brothers website. So, yeah, in this one, they confirmed it, that they are going to be in the movie. So the thing is, my theory for this is that they are going to be revisiting, the Smallville fight or the Black Zero event from Man of Steel, like BVS did, and we could either see Flash visiting that fight and saving some people, like what we saw in the concept art, saving falling babies from the buildings and stuff, because during that event when Bruce Wayne was running around and um, you know in BVS, we could see that Flash probably was on the other side of the buildings and stuff, maybe saving people from falling. Maybe he was there and nobody saw him. He's really fast. That could be one possibility. But since Supergirl is also in this movie, there's another possibility that this could be an alternate Earth where instead of Superman, Supergirl was fighting General Zod and Faora, and maybe she lost, and they captured her and put her into the prison. So that's where they have to rescue her from. That's just my theory, and I think either one of those two could be possible. I'm fine with either one of those or whatever they actually do in the film. It seems interesting to me that he'll be revisiting the other, timeline stuff, because I always love stuff like that. Whenever a speedster or time traveler or anything like that goes back to a certain event in a movie, in another movie and stuff, it's another thing to show that you have a shared cinematic universe and you're revisiting other movies and stuff. So I'm always up for that stuff, and I love it. So yeah, whether my theory is true or not, the confirmed thing is that Zod and Faora are in the movie, and it's not just reused footage from old movies. They are actually shooting for the movie. So yeah, there will be new stuff. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I do like that it's not going to be repurposed stuff, because the criticism I had for Spider-Man No Way Home was repurposed shots of Sandman and of Lizard, but that's understandable with COVID and stuff like that. But yeah, what your theory is that you think Supergirl will fail? She won't be able to kill Zod.
Yeah, either that or the other thing, that Flash will actually just go back and save people from that time.
Yeah, I seen something online. Somebody was saying she'll actually go back and stop Superman from snapping his neck. Could you imagine the outrage? I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah,
But
I don't think so
um,
either.
if I was writing the movie, what I would do is have Supergirl be Zod and Fiora, but she lose or she wins. The same destruction happens, but Lex Luthor shows up in like the armor suit, like beats her some way and puts her in jail, and he's a hero, and he runs for presidency and he becomes president of the United States. He's lamented a hero because he locked up
That would
the
be
alien
amazing
that
as well.
killed thousands of people. I think that'd be awesome. And Jesse Eisenberg there as well. That'd be cool. And then Flash and Keaton or whoever go there and they save her in the prison. They bring her to whatever timeline they need her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. What do I think they're doing is we'll probably get a perspective of the fight, the Smallville fight, maybe the Metropolis one as well, maybe the two of
Like
them.
BVS.
But it would be Supergirl. Yeah, but it would be, or it would be Supergirl, instead of Henry Cavill.
Right.
And we could get a Batman v Superman perspective as well, where it's Supergirl v Batgirl, which I wouldn't mind as well. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Just to see how Andy Muschietti, like he's going all out. He's gonna, like, Zack Snyder's a very unique aesthetic. He's gonna have to try and match that. He's going back to past DCU scenarios. Like, does he have the talent to match those kinds of shots and stuff like that? But yeah, I think that's what's happening. I don't know how it's going to end. Will Zod win or will Supergirl win? But if Zod wins, he's going to take over that Earth. But then why is Supergirl in prison? Because I think from concept art that leaked, she is in prison.
Right.
And you have Keaton and Flash have to save her. So I'm guessing she beats them and then she's put into prison for destruction. Or maybe in her world, Batgirl defeated her and put her in prison. Or maybe it was next to her. I don't know. But all I know is that Zod and Faora are back, and that's amazing. That's a big deal.
It is.
And I have a critic. What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with Warner Brothers that they had this leaking in or they didn't even leak it, just put up on their website in the casting grid. Like, this should be a big announcement. Like, this should be Hollywood Reporter stuff. Get people excited and fans excited, and they butcher it again. I don't understand it because
they don't care.
Michael Shannon.
They don't care about any of this.
Fantastic. But he was fantastic in Man of Steel, like probably arguably the best DCU villain. Yeah. And they just put him on a piece of paper and say he's in the movie. Like, that's kind of disrespectful to him as well. You know, you want to kind of gain hype. And the Faora actress, it's a really big deal. And yet fans are so concentrated on Michael Keaton right now. That would have been a good way to kind of get the focus off that, the negativity off that.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome to see him come back. And would Michael Shannon sign on to a script that disrespected Man of Steel?
Nope.
I don't think he would. You know, or Zack. We have Ben Affleck, we have Michael Shannon, two guys who really love Zack Snyder and who said they'd work with him again and they really liked his vision. I don't think they'd sign on for a script that was going against what he intended or being disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this movie. There's still 1 year from now, almost 1 year from now. Let's see how this goes. There's trailers supposed to be coming out, and they're going to be doing reshoots early next year, planned reshoots. But yeah, let's see. Bonesaw.
Well, probably to add more cameos as well. I'd say maybe. I think I said this the other day, and people were kind of shitting on me. I think that Warner Bros. Will react to No Way Home. I think they'll add more cameos. And that doesn't mean, that's not like a bad thing. You know what I mean? People look at this, Warner Bros. Interfering again. It actually benefit the movie. It would be cool with different kind of cameos and stuff like that. Marvel's doing it right now with Doctor Strange 2. I'm sure that film will turn out fine. But yeah, I just think, why isn't Christian Bale on it? You know, that's, he's like, he's the most popular Batman, I think. Like,
he is the most popular Batman.
General audiences, like, he was Batman from 2005 2012, and his movies, the progression of his box office was insane.
Yep.
So I'm surprised it didn't go all out to get him back.
Maybe they tried, maybe he denied. Who knows?
But look, just say Kevin Feige was over DC. Do you think he'd have a problem getting Christian Bale back?
Absolutely not.
For a cameo,
he got Christian Bale for Thor and Thor Love and Thunder movie as a villain.
Yeah. So I just think it's all about who's on top, who's in charge, who's presenting the vision to the talent.
Right.
You know, I think that's where DC falls. But yeah, what were you saying about Bonesaw?
Yes, so Bonesaw said absolutely insane what's happening now on Twitter just because of the Keaton news. And yeah, I agree, man. I'm not gonna lie, I woke up to that news and you know, I wake up pretty cranky already, and seeing that just made me even more upset. But it's been a few hours, so now I'm a little more calm. And yeah.
I have to kind of stop tweeting about Keaton, like, because I'm trying to be optimistic, hopeful, and stuff. Like I put my criticism out there about no Batfleck and stuff like that, but I also talk about the good things about having Keaton. And my mentions, people are coming in like just really angry, and it's like I made the decision. It's not my fault. I'm just talking about. They're like, I don't want a 7 year old Batman.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were making the decision? We would make everybody happy.
Yeah, and my that's where that's where clout works. I don't know. Like, yeah, people are really upset right now, so you kind of have to be careful what you tweet about.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to Marvel now, and we have okay, so a little movie called No Way Home came out the other day. And at the end of that was a post-credit scene, which was the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. And now that has been released, so we can finally talk about it. It's not a spoiler. All right, so so here's the trailer, and yeah, we have great color grading now, and we have a trailer music playing also. So I really really liked this trailer, and it just, especially after seeing No Way Home, watching this trailer felt like a really big upgrade, you know. It looks
Yeah,
so cinematic, it looks so beautiful, it looks grander in scale. The cinematographer and Sam Raimi obviously did a very good job here, and it's Doctor Strange, so it will be slightly more mature than Spider-Man, so I understand that. But what got me interested in this movie, apart from the multiverse stuff, is the assumption that I have that they are doing the What If storyline in live action. And we probably talked about What If, on this channel before, but my favorite What If episode was the Doctor Strange one, where he was he was trying to not get um, you know Christine killed, and he was trying every possibility that to keep her alive. And yeah, that is very fascinating to me, and that episode was so well done. It was so emotional, and it just had me in the feels the whole time, and it was so tragic and yet beautiful. So yeah, seeing some of that in here, I think this Doctor Strange will also do that, try to do that at least. Especially after No Way Home, he probably saw Peter and learned that he can try to fix things. um, I won't go into detail, but yeah, he probably learned from there, and maybe he gets an idea that maybe he could get Christine back, and he probably tried that, and obviously it won't go as he plans, and we would love to see that. So yeah, I'm really hyped for that. We got evil Doctor Strange from What If again. We got him here as well, and there's Wanda in the trailer, and there's America Chavez, another character in the trailer, and yeah, everything looks good to me, and I'm really really hyped. It comes out in a few months, just in May, and next year is very packed for all the movies and shows, man. I'm just really excited. Oh, and I forgot to
yeah.
mention
This film
Wong.
was,
Wong is also in here,
yeah,
the Sorcerer
is
Supreme.
the sorcerer. Yeah, Doctor Strange left for 5 years. Um, this film was supposed to come out in March or the same month as the Batman, but it was moved back because they're doing additional photography, well, reshoots right now. Actually, it looks like they're changing the large majority of the movie, probably more time to get the visual effects done. And there was rumors about what the plot was, but now it's very hard to understand if that's the same plot because they're going back to shoot a lot of the movie. I think it was like 6 days a week they were shooting. That's a lot for 4 or 5 weeks. So yeah, it's hard to see what they're going to do. I think the evil Doctor Strange in the trailer, or the variant of Doctor Strange, could be a misdirect. I don't think he might be. I don't think he's going to be the big baddie of the movie. It's probably going to be Wanda. It's called Multiverse of Madness, so there's going to be huge cameo. If you thought Spider-Man No Way Home was insane with multiverse characters, wait till you see Doctor Strange too, because I think that's going to be like on cocaine. That's how mad that's going to be. And the possibilities are endless there because Kevin Feige is open to the other universes. No spoilers, Spider-Man No Way Home, but the villains are from different universes. You can see that already. Daredevil is, I just spoiled that. But, It's very hard. I meant to say Kingpin. Kingpin is in Hawkeye, and that's kind of that was we thought that was a different universe. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got to see X Men or Fantastic Four universe. You just don't know with Kevin Feige because, in fairness to Marvel, they're giving the fans what they want and they're creating this huge buzz, which is fantastic. But other than that, Sam Raimi's directing this. We shouldn't forget that the guy who
Yes.
directed the first three Spider-Man films. Um, first two Spider-Man films are fantastic. Number three, both of us like it, but Sam Raimi didn't like it. There was a lot of studio interference and stuff like that. But so cool, he's back doing Marvel movies now. Kind of a bit of redemption for him, I hope. And will he bring characters from his Spider-Man world into this one? It's called Multiverse of Madness. Why not? Bruce Campbell will surely show up because he appeared in all three Spider-Man movies before as different characters. Be cool if he had a cameo here too. But yeah, the aesthetic looks different from usual MCU movies. Maybe because the color grading's not finished yet. I don't know. Looks a little bit darker in places, and that there was a cool shot there of them kind of opening up a door, and you go into this kind of multiverse and it's turning around. That was cool. So yeah, and Benedict Cumberbatch was in Spider-Man No Way Home. I thought he did a fantastic job. He's great in the role, but yeah, are you worried about the reshoots, the additional photography, or do you think it's just for some fan service?
Not at all. I think they are doing. I think they are doing the right thing. Especially after No Way Home, I have more faith. I was worried about No Way Home because they didn't push that movie. They were still going for that release date, and the movie itself did kind of felt rushed in some places. I mean, not the movie itself, but the production was rushed, so it kind of felt unfinished in the movie. But that probably won't be the case for this movie because they pushed it, and they will have enough time to complete it by then. So yeah, I'm not worried about this at all. I know that Sam Raimi will definitely deliver with this movie, and I have no doubt on Kevin Feige. He knows what's best for the fans, and he'll do everything to make sure that happens. So yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. But do you think we would see the TVA, Loki, or even Spider-Man in this movie?
I wouldn't be surprised if after seeing the reception for Spider-Man No Way Home, they bring some of those characters from that movie and shoot a quick scene. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the director that's involved. In
Exactly.
terms of, yeah, I think it would be a shame if they didn't. In terms of the TVA and Loki, I think Loki will show up. I don't think the TVA will show up because if you've seen Loki, at the end of it, he's not working with the TVA anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's very confused, and there's a new kind of timeline there created, and even Mobius doesn't know him anymore, and them two were kind of partners working together. So, um, well, he knows him, but everything's kind of messed up, and Kine, whatever timeline that is, Kine seems to be like the time gods or whatever that was called at the time. So I don't know. It depends what universe they're going into. You know, it was I don't know if you've seen it, but there was a rumor that the original, well, not the original, but the Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic from the 2004, 2005 Fantastic Four movies could pop up in it, which I would actually like because I've seen those movies in theaters. I actually liked those movies growing up. So to see him return, that would be pretty cool. And there was also somebody else, Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I do think some of the Fox X-Men universe characters will show up. I would love Wolverine to show up, but I don't know if Hugh Jackman would come back for that type of one. But I could definitely see James McAvoy come back as Professor X and Michael Fassbender as Magneto. Jennifer Lawrence will never come back because she hated being the character. She doesn't deserve to come back because she wouldn't have makeup for the last X-Men movie. It was terrible. But other than that, who else could pop up? Wesley Snipes'
I
Blade?
agree
Could he
with
pop
those
up?
two
I
as
don't
well.
know. There's who?
McAvoy and Fassbender. I think they will be in there,
Yeah.
but especially because Wanda is there, so Fassbender has to be there. But dude,
He's well just let people know that technically Magneto's her dad
yeah,
from a different universe.
yeah,
In the comics, that's her father. So I hope who I hope they bring back for some justice, Evan Peters. I hope they bring him back as Quicksilver. because that was just a joke. They made a show of him. If they brought him back, that'd be cool. I would. Would you like to see the original X-Men or the X-Men First Class team, Dark Phoenix team?
I would like to see the new one that they created after First Class. But mainly, I really don't care because I didn't like the new Jean. I didn't like the new Cyclops. But obviously Hugh Jackman was there all along somehow. I loved the old Xavier. I also love the new Xavier. I loved the old Magneto. I also love the new Magneto. Michael Fassbender is to me the Magneto, and he has to be there. Like he killed it in, well, technically as well as performance-wise. He killed it in X-Men Apocalypse. So he was great, and I would love for him to be in the MCU.
It'd be cool if Patrick Stewart and McAvoy could come back, and while they're fighting, if they're fight Wanda, I don't know because Wanda, I could see them doing the Dark Phoenix storyline with Wanda, in Doctor Strange too. And if they did that, I think Professor X would be kind of a good kind of. Or, but they won't, like, the average audiences won't remember it from X-Men 3, and they won't remember it from Dark Phoenix because nobody's seen it. You know, like us will know, but like it won't be.
Yeah.
I don't think general audiences will know that much. But it'd be cool if he was fighting Wanda, and whenever Wanda was doing, like, you got to see younger Professor X and then older Professor X within the one kind of sequence or something, whatever she was doing with the multiverse.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. But I'd actually love. I'd love Hugh Jackman to return, but I don't know if I want to ruin Logan. But can you ruin Logan? Like he's coming back in the MCU. Can you really ruin his legacy? I don't think he can. It'd just be awesome to see him alongside the Avengers. But I would love. This is kind of my dream: was it Daphne Keane to be the next Wolverine?
Yeah,
who played Laura in Logan. Like there was when Logan came out, it was reported
he's grown up now.
James Mangold. Yeah, she is. Yeah,
I saw a
great
teaser
actress as
from
well.
something that she's in
Yes,
the I forgot the name, but I saw one of the teasers from that, and she looks older, so she can definitely play that character.
I'd love that so much because there was actually talks when Logan came out that they were going to do a
X-23,
spin-off
yeah.
for her with James Mangold, him directing, which would have been fantastic. But then, of course, everything got messed around with Disney coming in. I'd love her to come back. Even I know she's going to get. If you've seen Hawkeye, the season finale, Kingpin kind of gets marvelized in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
when
haven't seen
characters
that yet.
come from different universes, yeah, well, when characters come from different universes into the MCU, they're going to get marvelized a little bit. Look at that. I'm going to do that. Nothing. I keep spoiling things.
Yeah, but
I'm sure people have seen it online by now.
yeah, but still, I forgot to talk about one topic, so let's jump into that topic next. Which is technically before, but we'll keep it next because we didn't cover it. Which is this. For whatever reason, recent rumors suggest that Marvel Studios and Sony are considering developing multiple projects, involving Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe. So, after No Way Home came out, for whatever reason, there was a campaign started to make The Amazing Spider-Man 3, which is hashtag make TASM3. And it was trending like crazy for like 2 or 3 days. And Andrew Garfield was trending for 3 days continuously. So it's amazing watching that because I've always had this perception about him being the least favorite and most hated Spider-Man because, you know, all the criticisms that people have of his performance and stuff. But I personally, for me, his movies are the best ones. And, you know, to me, he's Spider-Man, even though I grew up with Tobey and I love those movies. I love Tobey's Spider-Man. I resonated and vibed with Andrew's Spider-Man more. He's a little bit quirky. His quips are cool. His performances, his emotions, his acting. I loved all of that. And I've always loved his movies, but I was really sad when they canceled the third movie because the second movie was setting up so much and it abruptly ended. So I've always wanted to see the third movie, but now fans seem to be loving him. I don't know what changed, but something happened and fans are loving him all of a sudden, and I'm not complaining. He's trending every day. There are so many viral tweets about him and his Spider-Man, and I'm just loving it. And because of that, apparently, the rumors are that they are considering to develop, multiple projects, not just Amazing Spider-Man 3. And on the heels of this, another rumor came out that they were considering making Jamie Foxx's Electro solo movie, which I don't know why they would do that. His entire The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is basically his backstory. His entire story is there in that movie. So it's not like you can make a solo movie and retell his origin story and stuff. But I don't know what it could be. But as of right now, if they are planning to make that, I'm all for it. You can go ahead and make it. If it's good, I'll watch it. But I'm not too keen on it. But I definitely am very, very excited for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 because who wouldn't be? And
Yeah.
there's also rumors that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 could be in the making, and he could be reprising his role in that movie. To me, I think that's a very good idea. I think they should just make everything that fans want now, like all the Spider-Man movies, everything, all the ideas they have. They should do that totally, while also continuing Tom's storyline because I liked the way No Way Home ended and where he is currently, and I would definitely love to see more of that. And No Way Home definitely changed my perspective on his Spider-Man. So I'm now excited to see where his storyline goes. But yeah, you've heard of this news about Garfield probably getting multiple projects, and also Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 is probably in the works. What do you think? How true could this be, and how excited would you be if this was announced officially?
Well, with the money it's making right now, Spider-Man No Way Home, and the establishment of the multiverse deal with Sony, I definitely think they will. I think all companies will be crazy not to bring Spider-Man back because there's such a demand for that character. Every single Spider-Man movie has made the same money, and the three actors are fantastic in the role. Like with Batman movies, you could say Tony's not a good Batman, or people say who's not in certain roles. Superman is the same. But I think all Spider-Man castings have been legit perfect. And Toby's my favorite. Of course, grew up on him. I was against the reboot. I wanted Spider-Man 4. Sam Raimi pulled out that a reboot the wings. Andrew Garfield. I didn't want to watch the first one for a while because I just like why not just make number 4 with Tobey Maguire. I watched the first one. I really liked it. It was really well done. Tom Holland. I like in the MCU. Now I finally feel he is Spider-Man now for No Way Home.
Yes.
There's money to be made, and I think Tom Holland's in the MCU and he's the Avengers. Keep him there. The Sonyverse of Venom, Kraven, the Hunter, and Morpheus. They don't have a Spider-Man. It looks to be. They don't like their world is Spider-Man from what we can see because of at the post-credits scene. Spider-Man No Way Home. Tom Hardy in the Venom 2. He gets thrown into the MCU, and then at the end, No Way Home, he gets thrown back into his universe. And we've seen no signs of a Spider-Man. Yeah, maybe Morpheus will show us. But I think the aesthetic of two Venom movies and of Morpheus looks very similar to Andrew Garfield's world. And his Spider-Man would fit in perfectly there. So make him be the Spider-Man there. No problem. That'd be awesome to see because you've seen spoilers again for No Way Home. If you've seen it, there is a mention of an alien that he has never fought. He wants to play an alien. Venom's an alien. Go and do those. I think it'd be awesome to see. And then you have Maguire, who's a little bit older, of course. Maybe he doesn't have the motivation to do a full-on Spider-Man 4. If you throw him enough money, that the last Spider-Man film he did made 900 million. That was the worst of the three, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And critically and all that kind of stuff. 900 million. And they wanted to go forward in the years, but it never happened, unfortunately. But he could come back for Spider-Man 4. And I'd actually like to see him do a mentor type role for his daughter. He had a daughter, Spider-Woman, or something like that. Or he was a mentor towards Miles Morales. There's so many different directions you can go right now. I think you can have three different Spider-Man universes at the same time. I think audiences are smart enough to realize now, grab the concept of the multiverse. No Way Home explained it very well. There's plot holes here and there, but I think from a surface point of view, you understand what it is. The Holland universe, Toby, Andrew, you can do it, and then bring them all together for a multiverse film into the Spider-Verse film, live action, Miles Morales. Awesome. I definitely think that's a ability. Maybe they'll keep Miles and Tom in the same universe. But there's so much story left to tell, especially with Andrew holding his punches and fighting an alien and stuff like that. But also Toby as well, an older version of Spider-Man that we've seen before. It'd be interesting to see MJ how that kind of maybe ended or what happened there. His kid, what kind of villains did he met since then? He said he was stabbed before as well. You know, back. So I think they would be insane. I can't see them not coming back. There's too much money to be made. And I think the money that this film is making right now, three of these guys are going to make them money to return. Especially probably they'll probably all make even enough now, because probably when they're coming back from No Way Home, Toby had kind of the more bidding power. The OG Spider-Man and his money. Well, Andrew maybe not, because he only made two. But now the reception of No Way Home, I think he makes so much money for his return. So, I think it's going to happen. 100%. The solo movie is not too short for them to return. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. And Grayson says, our resident Tobey Maguire fan as well. No Way Home was wish fulfillment. Sorry, why not keep that going? Spider-Man 4 and TSM 3 and Tom's Force all have potential to be very different but very great Spider-Man stories. I agree, man. Look, I think all three are great Spider-Mans. And oh really? We're hearing Maher twice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can fix that. But yeah, I agree with you, Grayson. We can definitely see all three coming back. All three are great, and there's so much story to tell. And I agree. Let's move on to The Matrix.
That's okay now, I think. Okay now, Justin?
Yeah, please let me know if it's okay now, because I don't see the issue here from my end. Oh, got it. Now it should be fine. All right, cool.
Thanks, guys. The chat.
Yeah, thanks, Jason, and thank you, Grayson, as well. I didn't get what Grayson was trying to say. But yeah, The Matrix Resurrections. Finally, I watched it today, and I loved it, man. It was so great seeing how these characters returned and getting back into that world after so many years, and after obsessing about this for the entire year, watching fan theories and all that stuff. I didn't read the leaks, so that's what I was avoiding. But apart from that, fan theories and stuff, I was all in for that, and I really liked this movie. It was amazing watching this world come back to us, and at first I felt like it was a different kind of movie that didn't probably was a probably wasn't very good in honoring
This
the
is
trilogy.
this is this is non spoilers
Yes, this is non
first, yeah,
spoilers. Yes.
yeah, because Jason hasn't seen it, I don't think yet.
Yeah, so this is non spoilers. I'll be putting up the spoiler banner when we are talking spoilers. But yeah.
Yeah.
So the first half of the movie, I was thinking it was probably not honoring the first trilogy and going in a very different direction. And I was very confused by that. But after the reveals happened, I understood, oh, okay, it's not what I was thinking, and that put my mind to ease. But then after that, it just picks up and it's a proper Matrix sequel after the trilogy. And I would say that it's another great Matrix movie in the Matrix universe. And so far, we haven't had any bad movie yet. At least in my opinion, I think all of them are great. I really liked the new characters as well. And I won't say now why there are new characters and stuff, but there are there are so many reasons why this movie happened, and some of those reasons are in the movie, as a fourth wall breaking, talking to you kind of thing. But apart from that, I did find it brilliant, the way they executed this. It was very meta, like a lot of reviews were saying, and it didn't break from what the inherent movie is supposed to be as a Matrix movie. It didn't break from that, and I love that. And that's what I was worried about, but that didn't happen, and I love that. So, yeah, overall, I did really enjoy it. I liked the ending, I liked the action, I liked the cinematography, the color grading, and everything was amazing. And the music was also pretty refreshing. There were certain scenes where two people are having a conversation and there's action music playing for some reason. But I did enjoy that because it kept everyone hyped for what's coming and what's happening. So yeah, um, some of it is very confusing at first if you don't remember.
Yeah, I'm, I'm gonna have to watch it again. Some parts I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, if you don't remember the sequels, from the trilogy, if you don't remember those, some things could get very confusing for you. But they do a very good job of showing certain scenes from older movies to explain what's happening in this movie. So yeah, I would say if you just want to go and have fun, you can still do that. You can go and watch it. They show clips from other movies that would remind you what's happening. So it's not like you need to watch those other movies, right? But if you want to dive deeper into the movie, and if you want to just enjoy all the philosophical dialogue and stuff, then you probably would have to watch every single movie and then get into this movie, so you will enjoy it more. But I'm not saying that it's dependent on that. You can totally watch it without even seeing those other movies for years now. You can still watch it. They show some clips, and you will instantly be instantly reminded of that. And okay, so this I'll save for the spoiler talk. But yeah, what are your non-spoiler thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, we heard a lot of reviews about it being very meta, very self-aware, and stuff like that, and it was very funny. And I the first 25 minutes are meta because of the plot that it's trying to convey. Like it's meta for a reason. But after that, I didn't really see much meta-ness in it.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the comedy, like there was a few moments, of course, that are a bit funny and stuff. There's one scene in a coffee shop where they talk about another character. It was just random. I thought that was kind of funny. But after like the comedy for me, I wasn't laughing out loud. I felt more sad for the characters. They're in funny situations. They're in humorous situations, but I feel sad for that person in that situation. I wasn't laughing at them. So for me, after 25 minutes, most of the comedy was gone as well. So most of the reviews we kind of looked at last week, or I looked at my channel, was like meta comedy, meta comedy, meta comedy. I didn't really see that much.
Interesting
Yeah,
that you say
and then a
meta
lot of the
comedy, because I think that's also on purpose because of how Marvel movies are made today and how most action blockbusters today have a lot of comedy in them
yeah,
to keep people engaged. So
yeah.
maybe that's also one reason they
And,
incorporated that.
and did you see the post credit scene?
There was one?
The post credit scene, yeah.
I haven't seen
I'll
it.
yeah, I'll talk about it in the spoiler section, but uh, that was probably funny. That was probably the funniest of the whole film. But
Really?
yeah, yeah. So the meta and the comedy, there wasn't that much. I was thinking, and a lot of the reviews were saying that the action was poor. I was watching the movie and then I'm looking at the action. Like, this is pretty
Yeah.
badass action. This is good. Of course, it's not as groundbreaking as the original or Bullet Time and stuff like that. Like, that's like those are top tier. And the thing when Matrix first came out, like, it was mind blowing. People had never seen anything like this before. 20 years later, we've seen basically mostly everything that's got to do with action. You know, we've seen comic book movies. You know, we've seen Mission Impossible. We've seen insane action. So it's very hard for us to see something new and go, "Oh my god, wow!" Because we've seen it all really. The action in this was pretty good. It was enjoyable. I really liked it, and but the story is very deep and very layered. But it's also kind of it's more straightforward than I was thinking. It is definitely a love story as well, but like there's a few aspects of it got to do with what's actually going on with Neo, why we find himself in this situation. That was a little bit complicated to me. I think over second viewing or third viewing, I'd maybe understand that a little bit more. But then listening to there's a great YouTube channel, Matrix Explained. He explains it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of what they were doing and stuff like that. But I like how this is a sequel, but it's kind of like a sequel, and it acknowledges that it's a sequel. And you watch you watch sequels to movies that came out like Ghostbusters Afterlife. There's references, there's Easter eggs to the past trilogy. There's homages, there's similar scenes. Here, it knows that it should do that to get audiences or critics on their side. When it decides not to, or when it does it, it just decides to do it for kind of not like a laugh out loud moment, but like, oh, you were expecting us to do this from the original trilogy, weren't you, in this scene? No, we won't do that. You know, we'll make fun of it more. We'll do it in kind of not as good of a way. And I found that very interesting approach. It's like I'm going to make a sequel, but I don't want to make a sequel. Not in a bad way. It's just it's kind of simple. But that's important to the plot because I don't
Right.
want to spoil what happens. Like, it's that decision is done so because of the story that's being told and where Neo finds himself in when we meet him in the movie. And I've never seen anything like this before. I don't think I have. And it's so ballsy because we talk about franchises that come back after so many years to play it safe. Like Halloween, play it safe after the Halloween 2018, play it safe. Ghostbusters Afterlife, play it safe because then if you play it safe, you're probably guaranteed a pretty good box office. You win your box office back. You get audiences on side, you get critics on side by playing it safe, and then you warrant yourself the next movie. Matrix Resurrections set up so much for sequels, but I don't know if it does enough to warrant itself a sequel because it doesn't do the stuff you would expect for a fourth movie after 20 years. If it really wanted a sequel, if it really wanted the praise from the critics, it probably should have done a lot of the scenes recreated from the original trilogy and put them in, or do this, get that character to pop up here, or to get this character to say this. Maybe then it would have been better received
Yeah.
because audiences are familiar with that. But now, since Matrix Resurrections has decided to go in the complete opposite direction and say, no, F that. You're expecting a typical sequel. We're not going to do that. We're going to acknowledge that you want that. We know that you want that, but no, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty ballsy from Lana Wachowski. I hope it pays off. I hope a sequel happens. I hope it does really well on HBO Max. Hope it does well internationally. So, because I would like to see more of this world, definitely. And there's a lot of stuff talked about in the movie, or a lot of stuff set up that we never see any conclusion to whatsoever, which is a negative. But then again, if a part two is greenlit, then it's not a negative because you're going to get to see it explored. Because rewatching the original trilogy, there's a lot of stuff that's just left open ended
Yeah.
in Matrix 1 and in Matrix 2. But then you have to watch the next movie, and then you get to see that character return or that story beat return. And you're like, all right, yeah, cool, yeah, I understand. When you binge those 3 original movies, like I did, especially for this one, then I don't have to wait 2 years in between. So I didn't feel as annoyed. But I bet you, if you watch the original Matrix, or if they came out like that now, well, Matrix Resurrections is a good example. There's stuff I need to know. I want to find out what happened here and there to that character. They just talked about it for a second and they moved on. Like, go back. That's kind of Lana Wachowski's storytelling style, because they do that in the original.
Yeah.
Like Keanu Reeves, I think he gives. I don't know if it's his best performance as Neo, but it's way deeper flawed than the original 3. There's more, like the original 3. He's like this. He's the one. There's not much. There's not much depth to him. He's just like on the surface. He's kung fu and he's fighting and he loves Trinity. But here, that goes even deeper.
Yeah.
Everything's a lot deeper with his character. Carrie-Anne Moss, fantastic. I really like Neil Patrick Harris's character. Who, I think he did a pretty good job. And the Jessica Henwick is brilliant. I'd love to see like a movie or spin-off or a series with her. She was fantastic. But I just didn't get. I think the film should have been longer. It could have been easily another hour longer. And I think it would have flown by, because I don't know the exact runtime for this, but I think it was around 2 hours 30 or something like that. Didn't really. It felt like a long film because I was engaged with the story, but it wasn't like, oh, I can't wait for this to end. It could have been another hour to explore some of the other characters, and especially the real world and the machines and stuff like that, but it didn't. But that's probably why a sequel would come. But no, I think, yeah, it was enjoyable. I really liked it, and I can't wait to go back and watch it again. I bet you there's so much stuff we missed. We're only watching it on the surface right now.
Yeah. So now we can talk about spoilers. So I'll be turning on the spoiler alert banner. If you haven't seen the movie yet, no, you can leave the stream now or put it on mute. But we'll be talking Matrix Resurrections spoiler now. All right. So here we go. Okay. So firstly, I did like the structure of the movie. I think the idea that you had to have this Neo be shown as a blue pill guy, was a pretty good thing. And he was trapped inside a new Matrix, which has some different features and different set of rules. There's a new thing called a modal, which is basically used for evolving programs. That's something that was very interesting to me. Right? So I think the use of these new features and stuff was really interesting to me. But when I was watching the Neo being a game creator who created the original trilogy as, the one of the most popular games in the world, and he was famous, I was thinking maybe Lana is just retconning the old movies, to reboot this and stuff, because I was believing that. And that was very well done, because that had that effect on me, right? It's supposed to feel real. So that they did that very well. And and the way Neo was having these episodes, which was supposed to be his memories from the past and stuff, actually told us, it kind of fucked with my mind, saying, oh, maybe those weren't really happening. The original trilogy, I mean. Maybe he actually is a game developer, and this was all that we saw in those movies, and now we're just seeing the real, Thomas Anderson, So that kind of fucked with my mind as well. And half of the movie, I didn't know what was happening. And then when the reveal came, well, not half of the movie, but until when it went on. And then when it ended, I was like, oh, so this is a blue pill Neo trapped inside a matrix created for him to keep him there, so that, he stays there as a successful game developer who created the original Matrix, right? And that was a pretty brilliant thing to do for Lana, because you know that this is not a real world, so she can do whatever she wants with them, and she chose to just have this meta aspect to it where they are actually inside her world, Lana's world, like because WB is wanting her to make a reboot or a sequel, and she came back to do it, and she's the one who actually made the original trilogy. So it's kind of like the Neo inside that blue pill world was Lana, and I
Yeah,
I really liked
even
that.
even Warner Brothers is name dropped. That's kind of what
Yes.
the meta bit is.
And there were
The first
critics.
25, 30
People
minutes.
are complaining.
Yeah,
First movie was good, but
yeah,
second and third weren't good. They also name dropped the theories, some of the fan theories that, oh, the
yeah,
Matrix is obviously about transgenderism and all that. And then someone else said something else, and Neo was
yeah.
there the whole time just listening.
You know what was crazy as well? I should talk about it in a second, but like he names dropped Warner Brothers, and look, the studio wants you to make a fourth movie
Yeah,
or a fourth game, and he doesn't want to. Like Lana Wachowski, she pressured in to make a fourth Matrix movie.
yeah,
Like it's so meta, and like when they talk about the meta in the reviews, like this was only 25, 30 minutes of the film. That it was really meta, but then after that, you get over that part, and Neo realizes that he's trapped inside
yeah,
the Matrix, and it's all real. Well, Matrix is fake, but you know, the original trilogy was real. Then you get into the story and stuff like that.
yeah.
But I loved. Did you like the analyst?
Oh yeah, I loved the analyst, and I loved how he was also involved, monitoring him, keeping him there, and he want
Feeds off the
yeah,
feeds off kind of Neo's depression.
yeah, feeds off Neo as well as Trinity, and I really liked that. Also, I liked his powers inside this matrix because obviously he created it, and he also mentions his predecessor, which could be he could be referring to the architect. As this is a new matrix, he's in charge here, so they did bullet time, and he could just move faster than everyone else. Neo was slow, Trinity was slow, and I loved that feature as well. But before we jump onto that, I also there was also a line that said uh, that the Agent Smith character says to Thomas that they want to make a new game, and they want to make a sequel, and they will do it with or without you, right? So that's probably also what WB told Lana. Like, we're good. We're definitely gonna
Yeah.
make a new movie with or without you. And Lana probably said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." You know?
Did you really look the first trailer, the White Rabbit trailer, which was a masterpiece of a trailer.
Yeah,
That's a scene in the movie.
yeah,
Like not shot for shot, but that's a scene in the movie following Neo in the Matrix when Anderson in the Matrix, depressed at the world he's living in,
mm-hmm,
and even the shots of Alice, which it showed Sadie, grown
mm-hmm,
up, was not her. Yeah, her. Stuff like that. Like that was pretty cool. The trailer was actually kind of in the movie with the full song being played, and Neo kind of or Anderson in the room with the writers figuring out what the game will be for the fourth one. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of the you would expect to go back and use certain scenes from the original trilogy, like bullet time, like the
right.
slow mo kick and stuff like that, in the fourth movie. Just to get fans. Oh my god, yeah, I remember that from the second one
Yeah,
or the third one. But they didn't do that at all in the movie.
yeah. I thought there would
They
be a
acknowledged
highway
that.
scene with Trinity.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
but they
said,
acknowledged they,
though, they could
they
have done
acknowledged.
that nostalgia thing. They could have recreated stuff from the older movies. They even mentioned that. They know that we love that. They even mentioned that, and Lana could have still done that. People would have probably loved it more. But that's not what she does. She wants to make a movie that says something, and she did. So I really appreciate that they didn't just do the, oh, look, we're the Matrix movie, and look, this scene that we loved, we recreated it, and stuff like that, right? Although the movie
Yeah,
does start that way. That was very
yeah,
good.
it catches you off because you think that oh, are we going to be watching the original Matrix from a different perspective?
Yeah.
That's how the story kind of carries throughout the film, but it wasn't that at
Yeah.
all. And Jessica Henwick is us. We're fanboying out,
Yeah.
rewatching the original film in the fourth film.
Yeah.
But I was kind of fanboying out. I was like, oh, that's Trinity. She's going to do the kick now. Then she doesn't do the kick. The different version of
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But like, and then she kind of gets captured on the top of the
Yeah.
building by the agents. And then the Morpheus character, like, or not Morpheus, the other kind of
He was Smith.
the tech guy. Yeah, he was like, "Wait, that's not how it happened." Like, and I'm like that as well. Like, that's
Oh,
not what
okay,
happened.
that one.
What are they
Yeah.
doing to the original Matrix?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of stuff like that. So, um,
Yeah, I really
yeah, it
like
was like,
that they didn't just recreate the older scenes and they actually made a sequel, a proper sequel with a new story. And I really like that because, like I said, I always like when things are moving forward, and this was a step forward. So I liked it. And Brian says, I want a series based around the Machine Civil War now. I completely agree with you, man. That was a whole thing that they just touched upon and they didn't even elaborate on that or show anything. It was very quick, and yes, I would be very interested in that. Something that fleshes out the events after Neo saved Zion. Yes, that all felt a bit rushed. Yes, I agree. And what happened to Zion was also beautiful and interesting because um, a lot of those people are dead. But it's funny when Neo says that I did so much, and then there was it meant nothing, and then Niobe says, no, it did mean something. There was peace for so many years, because at the end of the Matrix revolutions, Neo sacrifices himself so that there's peace between the these humans,
man and
yeah,
machine.
the man and machine. So there was peace between those two, and we never knew that if it actually happened, after that movie. But now we know there actually were years of that, and even in this movie, we see that there's a new city created out of Zion, which is Io, which is also really a funny name because Io just is input output from computers, and it's also the middle two letters of Zion. It's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, yeah. And then like at the end of the original trilogy, like it was the architect said that they would give choice to people
Yes.
whether they want to be in the real world or in the Matrix. And we get to find out in this new Matrix, people prefer being in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And but like at the end of the movie, you would expect Trinity or you would expect Neo to say, "We're going to stop you. We're going to get people out of this world." But they didn't.
Yeah.
They just said, "We're going to make this world better than what you could make it," which just seemed kind of like it doesn't get you motivated for the next movie. Like the movie just ends kind of prematurely like that. Like would have been cooler if she said a badass line there and said, "Look, I'm going to stop you," and then you go into the next one. But no, it, it defeats the purpose of what like a sequel is really. And Lana was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what you expect me to do. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I'm not going to just make this movie for the sake of setting up another movie, or for the sake of you getting the feeling you had when you watched the first and second one."
Right.
It was a very ballsy choice.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. And as of right now, the reviews for Matrix is mostly positive. It's still, I think, in the 70s, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, most people are liking it, but there are a lot of people that are not liking it. So it's definitely kind of mixed, which is definitely a signature thing for the Matrix movies. Right after the first one, even the first one, people didn't understand when the movie released, but later on they liked it. But second and third, some people still kind of hate those movies, which I don't understand because those all three movies are essential and one singular arc for Neo, I believe. It's one story. It keeps going, and it ends in the third movie, and I really
No,
like that.
and his main criticism is the real world scenes in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I find that so fascinating because you'd rather be in the Matrix. You'd rather like it's very that's very meta. Like you're like,
Yep.
I want to watch the Matrix. I want to be in the Matrix. I want to stay in the Matrix with Neo and Trinity, where they have powers and there's stuff like that. You're and you're doing what the movie is about.
Yeah.
But whether you want to be in the Matrix or you want to be in the real world, everybody, well, not everybody, but most people just criticize the real world scenes, wanted to be back in the Matrix. I don't mind the real world scenes. I liked it, especially in the last movie, the kind of big war that was going on. But this time around, I actually didn't mind. I liked learning more about what happened. 60 years has passed as well.
Mm-hmm.
The machines were keeping Trinity and Neo alive and not didn't age as much as Niobe did.
Yeah.
We aged pretty 60 years. And like Brian was saying, they should have expanded more or want to see more about the war with the machines.
Definitely.
That's what I'm talking about. If number 5 is made, we'll see more of that eventually.
Yeah.
We'll see more about what happened to Morpheus, which we didn't. There was like little story beats like that. That if you watch the original trilogy, that happens in the first one as well with different aspects. In the second one, like it all ties together with 3 movies. And this one will be the exact same. That's why I hope the next another one gets made. But will it do enough financially and stuff? And will Warner Brothers look at this movie and say, "Bring her back. What's she going to do with the next one?" Because here, like, look what she did. I don't know if they would or if they could. Would they get another director in? I wouldn't be as interested maybe as if they got somebody else in. But then again, Denis Villeneuve came in and did Blade Runner 2049. That was fantastic. But then again, that's not like a deep meta psychological film as such. It's sci-fi. It's kind of noir. So I don't know, I like
man.
the themes that
I don't know if I would.
brings in.
I don't know if I would open to be.
I don't either. But I would be intrigued to see Lily come back and direct the next one. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And Lana steps down, and then for the last one they come back together. I wouldn't be surprised. Like that could have been pre-planned between the two of them as well.
Yeah,
we just don't know because I think they're a little bit. They're very.
We don't use that word here.
No, I was gonna say, are they geniuses? Because
yes,
some of the stuff that they're able to incorporate is crazy. I'll say the word is crazy. I really liked the story, and I can't wait to go back and explore it. I didn't get everything in my first viewing, but I would have liked to see more of Jonathan Groff.
Yes, he was so good.
Agent Smith,
and he was also a fan of the original Agent Smith.
Yeah, can I ask you? So Neo is in the Matrix, and Trinity's in the Matrix, but they don't know about their past life, of course.
Yes.
And I remember I was talking to you before with this. There's a comic called the Get It comic where the Matrix puts the Matrix into the Matrix. So people who are in the Matrix go to the theater, they watch Matrix. I think it was 5 or something like that. And people come out of it thinking like, "Oh, that was a cool movie." But when the Matrix exists in your world, you're not going to be thinking that you're in a simulation.
Exactly.
You have those thoughts. You have them because you played the game in this situation, or you've watched the movie.
Almost like our world now.
Yes. But that's what the analyst wanted. He didn't want people to realize they were in a simulation. So he put the game, 3 games into it, which was the original movie. And that's why Neo thought that's why he has these feelings, because he thought of a game and he made the game.
Yeah.
But so his boss was Jonathan Groff's character. So did the analyst was he taking the brainwaves, or not the brainwaves, was he taking energy from Agent Smith? And did Agent Smith know he was in the Matrix? Or did he just kind of get the deja vu when he saw the gun on the ground and he saw Neo there? Is that when he came back into life as Agent Smith?
I think
Or did he know all along?
Yeah, I think he knew. Because even from the original trilogy, he was learning more and more and, having conversations with Morpheus. And he, obviously, from the first movie itself, he knew that he was inside the Matrix because he tells Morpheus, I hate the stench I hate the smell of you guys here, and I can't smell it, but I know it sucks and all that stuff, right? So he knows that he's in the Matrix.
He basically wanted to kill his creator. He wanted to
Yes.
kill the analyst because he made him.
Yeah.
Uh, either he made him be this way, or he made him be in the Matrix. Is that what his intention was? Because when we get to see, so Neo makes a deal with not the architect, the
Analyst. Yeah.
analyst, saying, "Look, you won't be back in the Matrix because you feed off my energy, negative energy to what was he doing that for again? He was using Neo's negative energy, his depression. Was it to power that Matrix or to keep everyone else in you remember why he was doing that?
He was using Neo and Trinity. Those two were key to keeping his new Matrix running. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So Neo says, "Okay, let me ask Trinity if she wants to come to the real world with me, if she wants to escape. If she says yes, then you let us leave. But if she says no, she doesn't want. She wants to stay here in her false reality. Then I'll go back. I'll go back into my life in the Matrix, and you can use it." And then, of course, the analyst is never going to keep up his end of the deal. But of course, Trinity wants to fight with Neo, and then Agent Smith just comes out of nowhere and he helps Neo, and he doesn't even call him Mr. Anderson. He goes, "Is it Tom?" He calls
Yeah.
him Tom. That was funny, but there was a very powerful
You
line
know
that
how
kind of
he
had
came?
me thinking.
It's the
No,
same thing that happened in the third Matrix movie, and it's the same thing that happens in a lot of movies. It's called the Deus Ex Machina, right? When the hero is losing at the end of a movie, and suddenly a different character or a different force comes in to save the hero, right? That's a trope
yeah,
in movies. That's also what happened in Matrix Revolutions, and that's something that also happened in this movie. Literally, he
mm,
became the Deus Ex Machina, and he runs the company called Deus Ex Machina.
yeah, yeah. It was.
And
I love. I'm going to jump back now, but I loved when Morpheus is trying to convert
yeah,
Neo and to give him the blue pill or the red pill
comes
and
out of the
like
bathroom.
bring him back and to show him everything and Neo's like, no, 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 this isn't
Yeah,
real. I'm making this up. He thinks he's crazy. He tried to kill himself in the
yeah.
Matrix, and he thinks he's crazy. He goes to a therapist, which is the analyst, and so like, I'm making this up. It's all in my head because he thinks the Matrix games that he made, he once thought that they were. He actually lived those. That
That's
was real.
exactly
And
a
then
very
he,
brilliant thing that you mentioned.
yeah,
Because if you have the Matrix inside that Matrix as a creation, especially by you created those games, then you won't think that, oh, maybe this is real, right? Because it literally exists right in front of you as a game. And that's
yeah,
basically our real world too, right? In our world, the Matrix movies exist, but that leads us to question our reality. Like, are we living in a simulation, right? So I think that was very brilliant of them to incorporate in the movie, and they did very good. But
yeah,
yeah, I love that, and I did like the okay. So for the Zion stuff, I think a lot of people hate the Zion stuff from the older movies, right? And um, I can understand that people find that boring or dull or stuff like that, but that's the point of those scenes. Like, I'm not even, loving those scenes, and I'm not crazy about those scenes either, but that's the point. You're not supposed to, because this is a post-apocalyptic world, where machines took over. And obviously you aren't supposed to love that world. That's why it's always so dull. That's why it's always so, dark and gray, and there's clouds and rain all the time and stuff like that. And you have dull clothing, blue color grading, which makes you feel like you're in a very boring and dull setting. And all of that is on purpose. You're supposed to feel very dull there. But in that, there's a group of people called Zion who are a symbol of hope that there will be, surviving. So that's supposed to be the point. Um, but now we don't have Zion anymore. We have Io, which is a combination of man and machine. So those two people are working together now, and that's why Io is a little bit more beautiful than Zion was. You know, So I thought that was also very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the new kind of artificial
Oh,
environment
and
that the new Matrix has.
they ate strawberries. You
Yes,
you
they're
remember
growth.
that thing from the comic you
They're
showed
growth food.
about them not having bread and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and Niobe is kind of afraid to help Neo in case it jeopardizes what she's helped build there, which is fair enough as well. But like, it'll be interesting to see if we go back to the future movies how that develops. And I do predict we could get a war between man and man, humanity and humanity. If we've seen a war between the machines, now we also see machines working with the humans. I have a theory that we could see humans and machines versus humans and machines by the third movie for some reason. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that's the way they're going. But I also loved John Gruff's last line before he left the film. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was like, the different there's been a difference or between
Oh
me and
yes,
you.
that was a great line.
The diff there what's that he said? There's always been a difference between me and you, or the difference between me and you and Neo is that anybody could have been you. Is that what he says?
Yeah, he says the
And
difference between you and me is that
well,
anybody can be you, but
yeah,
I can be anyone. And he just
yeah,
transforms into that
that was
guy whose body he took. It's
that
so
was so
great.
good. And that line kept me thinking after.
Yeah, that was so good. And also, I didn't realize this um, before this movie, but in this movie, they point out that the two most impactful people outside of Trinity, of course, the two most impactful people on making Neo who he is, are Morpheus and Agent Smith. Both are hero and villain, but both of them played a part in making Neo who he was. So that was an interesting thing that they explored in this movie.
Yeah, and Morpheus is kind of he's an agent in this Matrix,
Yeah.
and he becomes self-aware like Agent Smith did
Mm-hmm.
in the original trilogy, but this time he doesn't become evil, and he uses it for good.
Mm-hmm.
And he helps kind of Bugs, and he helps Neo as well. And I liked how they have a new technology where uh, code or whatever
Yeah.
can come into the real world through this kind of device they use. That was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. There's something else as well that they had. I forget what it was. Oh, I forget what. I love it how actually Morpheus was in the White Room. I'm not good at all the
Yes.
terms and stuff. He's in the White Room, and that's kind
The
of where
construct.
his construct is kind of like the middle place between Matrix and the real world.
Yeah.
He's just in there chilling, watching the original Matrix
Yeah.
or watching the games or whatever. But yeah, that was good. But like he wasn't kind of Jonathan Gruff was great, and yeah, Abdul Mateen was great. You can't replace Lawrence Fishburne or Hugo Weaving,
Yeah. And he was
and
in the movie
I don't know,
as a statue.
yeah, as a statue, and so was Hugo Weaving. He was in Jonathan Gruff's
Yes.
office. The scene from Revolutions where he gets punched in the face, the slow mo scene that's
Yeah.
in the back in the statue. Uh, I do think it's a bit of a mistake not to bring them back, but then of course you would expect them to come back, the legacy characters to come
Yeah.
back for the fourth movie, and that's what
I
everyone would
actually
want. But
thought
then a
we
lot of
would
us were
see
doing
them
that.
for a scene or so.
Yeah, yeah, but I wonder can she bring them back? Maybe I don't know. Probably not. 60 years later. Well, Agent Smith can
Yeah,
always come
Agent
back
Smith can
because
definitely come back, but I don't know if
he's
Morpheus is
cold.
alive or dead. I don't think I
He
picked
left it
up
so
on that
open.
in the movie.
Well,
60 years have
in
passed
the
though.
games, the games are supposedly canon, but they
Yeah,
were
he died in the
before.
game, right?
Yeah, they were before. Maybe they've changed their minds, the Wachowskis, but they always said that the Matrix game was canon. He died in that game, so that could be. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it canon.
Mm.
You know, like, that's kind of funny how Matrix 4 was about Neo creating,
But
allegedly creating a
also,
game,
Neo and Trinity
and more.
died.
Yeah, true.
So,
They actually made up a good story for how they came back.
yeah.
Of, but that the statue with Morpheus with his hands like that as well. I wonder what that's about. Did you notice that?
Morpheus' hand?
Hands is a statue like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a backstory to that. Maybe they can explore that in a flashback or something in the future. But I really, really hope there is more to the Matrix, man. I mean, a new movie, a series, I would take anything at this point. And I do like the new characters. I thought Bugs was really great. She was kind of the lead in the movie, apart from Keanu. She did very well, I think.
Yeah, she was very likable on
Yeah,
screen and like innocence to her, and she was kind of like she was basically the audience.
yeah.
She was blown away by everything and meeting Neo, and also something about this film as well. We find out that Neo isn't really the one. He it, it, it I'm not going around the terminology and all the words and stuff like that, but how the Matrix was created in the first one kind of made him the one in that reality. This time, the things that happened in this new Matrix, it's made kind of um, Trinity, not the one, but very powerful. Whatever, like a defect, like an experiment being done on Neo in the first one, Trinity this time. That's why they have these powers. And yeah, and if there's very Superman, Zack Snyder's Superman,
Yeah.
the capes and the flying, and
There's also one scene where
nope,
Neo tried to fly. Oh, and I forgot to
that
mention
was funny.
the bots. So there's also a new thing in this movie called bots, which they can create any of the, I don't remember this being in the older movies, but they're like zombies now. And that scene where Trinity takes Neo on a ride, and the analyst creates new bots from the buildings, and they're falling to the ground. Oh my god, that was so freaky.
Oh yeah, instead of agents, it's just like the
People are falling to the
the
ground
Metro.
and dying just to stop the.
I'm surprised that's not like a controversial thing about the movie.
I
How
think it will
innocent.
be. I haven't heard anyone
Oh,
mention that
it's
though.
yeah, people are very bitchy about stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like yeah, there's people just basically committing suicide,
yeah.
jumping out windows, thousands of people, and yeah, that was something else. It was like yeah, I love. I hope Keanu Reeves keeps the long hair for the future
That
movies.
is
Just
also
looks
so
badass
meta
with the
because
shades.
he is like that in real life.
Yeah, it's been yeah, it's him, him, and
I
yeah,
wonder
it
if in
was
the
so
next
much.
movie he will be shooting John Wick in A Matrix.
You wouldn't put it past
That would be really
Donna at
cool.
all. Yeah, I also wonder what the Merovingian was only in it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I thought he would have a bigger role.
I mean, but see, if you go back to the Matrix 2, same thing happened. He was only in it for a small scene, a few minutes, and then you get to see him in the next one again. Like you go back to these characters, and you're like, I think we would have seen something like that in the
Yeah,
next Matrix. We'll see him again, and probably in the third one, like you get to see more of his story and background to where he is. You probably get to see his wife wherever she is. Um, yeah, that's the type of storyline telling that they do. They just give you a little bit of the information, and you go into the next movie.
yeah,
The next movie has to happen. There's
yeah, man.
so much
I
questions.
really, really want it to happen.
Um,
I don't care if the
uh,
movie flops or doesn't do well on HBO Max. I literally don't care. I just want it to happen. How can you not make another Matrix movie in this world? You know?
yeah, yeah, Brian put it in better words than what I was saying. The agents took over the humans, but now they just turned the humans into
Yes. Yeah.
the swarm. Yeah, that was cool. I like that addition. There wasn't too many agents in this at the start. There is, and then it's just kind of the humans,
Yeah.
like zombies, robots, whatever it is. That was cool. But yeah, I think they don't release official numbers, but like I think if they wanted to spin it to the Suicide or they did it with the Suicide Squad, they did with like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Movies didn't do that well at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were huge HBO Max
And
hits.
Dune.
I hope they and Dune. Like I hope they well Dune made a good bit of money at the box office
Yeah,
as
true.
well. But like I hope they say that the Matrix was a big hit. Because for one, they're trying to save their own ass by putting the movies in day and date, justify that kind of decision. So I hope that happens. If the Matrix doesn't do well, I hope that like it does well.
Yeah.
Kind of way. So they have to make a
It's
fifth one.
crazy that
But
there's it if this is the end, it would be very, very crazy because how do you not continue how do you not milk the Matrix franchise and the Harry Potter franchise? Like you have to make more.
well, to me, this is a 2.5 hour movie that sets up a new trilogy,
Yeah.
and also maybe spin-offs if you want to really go full out milking it. You can do spin-offs as well. There's so much to cover: the machines, the war with the
I'll take
machines, having
animated
the
too if you
Morpheus.
want.
The Morpheus could be a HBO Max series with Lawrence Fishburne. Like that could be, unless it's part of the movie plans. I don't know. You could get Jesse Hemwick having a movie or series. So much to do. So much to do.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see. I was a little bit disappointed how it took until the last few minutes for Trinity to get her powers and for her and Neo to be fully powerful in the
Yeah.
Matrix. We never really got an awesome action scene with the two of them like that.
Yeah.
I go back to Revolutions, with Agent Smith and Neo at the end in the rain, the fight in the rain. That's fantastic
I
just to
actually
watch
thought that we were
visually.
getting that scene or a scene like that.
I would, yeah, was no really villain in this one. I know the Analyst was a villain, like he's kind of like a Lex Luthor type villain,
Yeah.
pulling the strings behind the scenes. But I would have liked a villain. Like I think that's where Weaving's presence was usually missing in the movie for me because of the presence he brings on screen, his line delivery, the relationship, the chemistry with Keanu Reeves and Neo, that kind of fight that was going on, Mr. Anderson, stuff like that was just hard to replicate that. But I think the film it definitely needed a villain,
Yeah.
and hopefully they make one for the second one and stuff like that. But another aspect, I love them little two machines turning on their own kind
Yeah.
to help bring Neo out from the chambers. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And sorry, Brian, I missed up on your comments here. Brian says, "How about that tech to allow programs to exist in the real world? Zack Snyder is a blueprint or what?" Listen, man, I won't.
Oh,
I
the apocalypse.
Yeah, I won't
Yeah.
say that he is the blueprint for the Wachowskis because they are the blueprint for him, but I would definitely say that he probably ruined their career by doing what he did, and now they have nothing left to do. You know?
And do you not hear the line drop, the time loop line drop?
Yeah,
Do you hear
yeah.
that? I'm like, come on, time loops.
Dude, Zack did everything in his movies that there's literally nothing left for the Wachowskis to do. It's he did
Every
everything.
time there's like this, because I probably would have seen Matrix when I was younger, but I never really like looked at that movie and said, "Oh, there's slow motion." So it wasn't until like maybe Zack Snyder's movies I looked at movies and said, "Oh, there's slow
Yeah,
motion." Every time I see the slow motion in the Matrix, I think of Zack
yeah.
Snyder. You know, there was one slow motion scene. Hard to remember now, but it was really slow, and it just reminded me of Zack Snyder's movie.
Yeah. Brian also says there's people out there who weren't happy it didn't have the same kind of action sequences. Yeah, man. Fuck those people.
That's the point. That's the point, though.
Just kidding. There's
That's a that,
Go ahead.
no. I'm saying like that's what the point of the film
Yeah.
was not to be that. Everyone expected it.
Yeah, and they had a good bit of action. Kung
Yeah,
fu
that was good. Yeah,
action. There was a subway fight scene. It was all of it. But they just didn't
I,
have the
I
whole 360 camera thing or
yeah.
jumping off buildings and fighting
One,
things, all of that.
yeah. I really wanted a one shot kind of kung fu and combat scene with Neo and somebody like he had in the original trilogy. Like we just like stopping punches and he's fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never really got one like that. But I love one shot sequences, and I'm surprised as well because I think if you have this movie and you have like the Chad Sadowski, is it, or Chad? What's his name?
Chad Stahelski.
Was the John Wick movies? Yeah, if he was doing the action for this, I think
You
would
know
have
what I thought
really
today?
helped.
His
Um,
John Wick 4 got postponed, right?
yeah,
Matrix 4 came out today.
yeah.
His
Like
movie got postponed for like 1 year. He's free.
and it was supposed to come out in March.
Yes, he's free now.
I but do you think that
I
they're going to move
hope.
forward with another Matrix movie?
I
The script
hope.
is already done for Matrix 5.
Yep. I hope they do that because look, getting him back and putting together the old team back, getting Bill Pope back, also getting Lily Wachowski back, they could make something really great, man. And I hope they do it
He would
sooner.
he would have been he would have been prepping John Wick 4 when the Matrix was shooting,
Yes,
or why he couldn't do it because Keanu Reeves shot Matrix and John Wick back to back. So that's probably why he's director as well, isn't he, of John Wick?
yes,
Yeah, that's probably why he was too busy. So, like, I would love them to get the team back together, him to come back and do the action because I think this
absolutely.
film has good action. But if they want to take it if he was involved with the action team for this, I think they would have taken it to the next level where it would have been maybe not as influential or like, oh my god, as the first one, but it would have been a lot better. He's the king of action right now
Yeah,
for me in Hollywood, or American Hollywood. Um, yeah, so I think the action was good, but it just could have been a lot better and maybe more of it as well. But I like the psychological themes in it and the deeper thinking and lines and just go back and watch it again. I like that stuff. It doesn't always have to be non-stop popcorn driven action.
yeah, yeah. So overall, I did really enjoy the movie, and I'm definitely going to watch it again. It's on HBO Max now. So I'll be watching it again, and this time I will watch the post-credit scene because I missed it in the theater. I didn't know there was one.
Oh yeah, it actually makes a joke of Marvel and DC.
Oh, really? Like
Well, not it doesn't name drop them, but like what's the purpose of a post credit scene for Marvel or DC?
to set up something in the future?
Yeah, this 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 film has a post credit scene not to set up anything for the future.
Okay,
It's just
nice.
it takes a swipe at all the and you know it was at the very end of the credits as well, like when the last
So there are two.
scroll credits. No, the entire credits run. You wait 10 minutes and then the scene plays.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out again. And yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. And to me, there has never been any bad Matrix movie. So I would definitely recommend this one. Some people might enjoy this more than the second and third movie. And you know, if you liked the first movie at least, I would definitely say watch this because there's a lot of tribute paid to the original movie as well, and um, it's relatively easy to understand this movie, so you can just watch it at a surface level as well, and enjoy it. But if you dig deeper, there's a lot of stuff to uncover as well. So I love that. All right, so
Yeah, definitely if you can watch it in theaters, watch it. But I know a lot of
oh
people
yeah,
watch it on HBO Max today because it's convenient and stuff like that. But I think there's really nice shots of watching it in a theater, and I really like the real world shots. Some of the shots are probably better than the original. I was watching the original trilogy the last few days, and like 2003, like when the last one came out, visual effects are fantastic, especially on the robots and the machines and stuff.
mm-hmm.
The fighting looks flawless, and same now again. But yeah, everyone, I think they all did a fantastic job, and hopefully now it makes money at box office and it does well streaming wise. Hopefully, warrant a sequel
Yeah,
if they want to make one.
yeah. All right, so with that, we conclude our Matrix Resurrections spoiler review, um, and all the topics as well. So yeah, this is probably the last show of the year, depending on our availability because Christmas is coming and then it's New Year's. Both are coming on weekends this time. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, if this is the last one, Merry Christmas to every one of you and a Happy New Year. But we'll definitely be, streaming early next year as well. So we'll see you then. Until then, you can follow us at The Real Talk Live on all social media. You can follow me at Krypton Caged. And where can they find you, Mar?
Yeah, movies that matter.
Awesome. So until next time, take care and goodbye.